So it's good to be back with you this evening, and we want to start talking about, again, parental involvement in education. And we're going to continue to give you some tips for being an involved parent. And so we want to start with talking about volunteering in the classroom, volunteering on field trips, and for special events. There are a lot of times, and I know you have to work, and so there are times when you will have opportunities to go on field trips with your kids. And I'm going to tell you right now, the older they get, the less likely they want you to go with them. So when they're in the kindergarten, the first grade, the second grade, they're excited because the parents there and they can come to you for water and food and so on and so forth. You know, treasure those moments. But you do need to go and attend. A lot of times the teachers will ask you to be chaperones. And so it's a good time to connect with your child and see who the other kids, see what other kids started in the classroom and how they do things and how well organized they are and the teacher's connection with the kids. You just learn a whole lot on these field trips. Over the years, we've been on several, and they kept asking us to come back and continue to help. And a lot of times we had more authority as far as discipline than the teachers. They would ask us to come to help discipline the kids. And we, God had given us grace and experience, and so we had a lot of experience with dealing with kids, numerous of children over the years, and so, but it's a blessing. So that's one thing you want to do as a parent, and then you want to continue to be involved in your child's education, or should I say continue to be involved as your child is in middle and high school. Got to find a way to be involved. Don't just leave them to themselves. And one thing that is very, very important as you move through your child's education as they continue to grow, you want to make sure that you attend parent-teacher meetings. Must understand that is very important. When teachers see that you are, and the administrators, when they see that you are interested in your child's education, for some reason they give you more attention. For some reason they understand and they see that you're serious. Why? Because there are many parents who do not. Many parents, 3-4 years of going, the kids attending the school, they never come. The teachers never see them, And so it's very important. One thing my mom always stressed to me, because she was a teacher, she said, look, you need to make sure that you attend teachers' meetings and the teachers need to know you. They need to understand who you are and who your child is. That's very important. Now, if she told me that and she was a teacher, then it behooved me to have enough wisdom and sense to take that advice and walk in it. And I did not go wrong. I understood when we had our child, I understood the importance of what she was telling me. There's a connection there. They begin to get comfortable with you. They understand that you're there not only to help your child, but to help them help your child. They see your attitude. They see that you're sincere and serious. And we had many occasions where we did not have to set up. You know how you got to call and set up appointments. You got to go through, not the red tape, but you got to go through proper protocol, to set up appointments to talk to the teachers for your child. And we had many opportunities where we didn't have to set up anything. We were able to go straight to the teacher, go straight to the administrator, and talk about 5 to 7 minutes. However long we needed. We had the principal's ear. We had the vice principal's ear. We had everybody in the building's ear. Now, I know some of that had to do with the fact that we were PTSA members, and at one time I was co-president, and then I was president. So I understand. But that's why it's so important to be involved in school, because and we didn't do it to have favor, to get favor now, to have picks and chooses so that, we can go in and talk to them about this and that and the other because of what we wanted personally. We went in and this is what you have to do. You have to make sure that you have the right attitude. We went in as advocates for all the parents, okay? Because there were parents that could not get off their jobs. There were parents that were not comfortable enough in talking to leadership or talking to teachers. Just a whole lot of things. So we were advocates for those particular parents. And so God was able to use us to be a blessing. So you want to make sure that you attend parent-teacher meetings. And if you can't go to all of them, you need to make some of them. Go to every other one. Make sure, and you got to understand something. If it's something that we really want to do, and it's real important to us, we'll do it. We'll do it. So we got to make sure that we don't make excuses, this and that and the other. I had to work late, or I had to do this. I had all these things planned. No, put this in your schedule and understand that is real important, because you're doing two things really when you have a parent teachers meeting. You're holding the teacher accountable for doing right by your child. You're also holding your child accountable for doing what he's supposed to do in that classroom. Because he sees or she sees, oh, mom and dad got a relationship with the teacher, so I need to make sure I'm not in here cutting up and acting up and trying to get by. And one thing my mom always told the teachers, she told the teachers all the way through high school, if he do something wrong, whoop him. Like, Mom, they ain't whooping kids no more. They ain't doing that. So, but she wanted the teachers to know that they had her full go ahead, that they had her full support in whatever they needed to do to help me, because she understood how important education was. And so another thing is that we want to make sure that we talk with our children about school on a daily basis. You need to know what they're doing and what's going on in their life. Sometimes they'll talk about schoolwork, and then they'll go on to tell you how what's his name cut up in the bathroom, or how such and such talk back to the teacher. Now we got something to pray about it. We got something to watch. We got something to deal with. But you got to communicate, got to continue to communicate with your kids about what's going on every day. Be an advocate for your child to make sure that the child's needs are being met. So you want to make sure that when you send your kids to school, that they not only have all the material that they need, but they also have the mental aptitude, that they have the confidence, that they know who they are in Christ, that they know their responsibilities, know how to deal with kids that bully, and how to deal with the problems and issues, and how to stay away from trouble. Okay, they need to know. And you need to make sure that all their needs are met. They're under a lot of stress. They're under pressure. They're under a lot of things. So we need to make sure that they have everything that they need. Make sure that they're well, that they, get good night's sleeps, get a good night's sleep, and you need to make sure that they don't have any apprehensive in their in their life to where they don't want to go to school. I don't want to go to school today. Well, why? I'm sick. Well, you ain't sick because you just got through playing. So I know you're not sick. So what's going on at school that you don't want to be involved in, or you don't want to connect with, or you got problems with? And so you always have to talk to your kids about what's going on in school. And here again, listen. Don't always be trying to solve problems. Always find out the facts. Ask questions so that you can find out the facts. What's going on? What are the facts? They're not asking you to solve anything yet. Was such and such pushed me around in the bathroom, or such and such playing in the bathroom, or such and such took my food at lunch, or such and such. You need to know all those things. And always make sure that you turn them, or should I say, you point them to the proper authority. You don't go up there, well, who did it? Who took your food? No, tell your child, look, you need to tell the teacher. Did you tell the teacher? Well, no. Well, that's the first person you need to talk to. Talk to the teacher. Because I'm sure the teacher doesn't know. Teacher didn't see it. So talk to the teacher. And then go from there. And most of the time the teacher will do something about it. If the teacher doesn't do anything about it, then that's when you get involved. And you don't go talk to the principal. You send a note. They got emails now. You can email the teachers just like that, back and forth. And they will respond. Good teachers respond. They respond, and they'll tell you when they're going to respond. And so they will respond, and you can deal with that. And when the child knows that the teacher and the parent is taking up for them, or should I say, they're advocates on their behalf, that they're going to do what's in their best interest to take care of them, then guess what? That's what the child does. It builds confidence. It's like, I can do what I need to do because I know I got mom and dad and the teachers working together on my behalf. And so they need to see that all of this is going to help the child be responsive in a good way and do well in his education. Okay? If a problem arises, address it quickly by requesting a meeting with the teacher. And sometimes you don't have to request a meeting, but there are times when you have to request a meeting. And you don't have to go, look, when you go in to talk to a teacher, make sure you go in humble. Make sure you go in with an open mind. Make sure it doesn't matter. Look, You know how kids are. They don't try to lie, but they will bend some stuff. They'll bend the truth. Because they think they're in trouble anyway. So they're going to make sure that things look good in their eyesight and what they did in their response. So when you go in with an open mind. Go in that you're going to deal with the issue and solve the problem, and that you're on nobody's side. And at the end of the day, if you got to take sides, okay, if you have to take sides, take the teacher's side. Why? Because the teacher's teaching your child, and they're spending more times and more hours with your child than you are during the day. Okay, so you need to make sure, and so that's where you want to be. You want to use wisdom. If the teacher is doing something that she shouldn't be doing or he shouldn't be doing, then you need to be able to address that with wisdom and love and in the right way, in the right manner, so that at the end of the day, when you finish that conversation, everybody and everything is pointing back to how we're going to help my child, how we're going to help these kids get a good education, being in a good atmosphere, decent atmosphere that's conducive to learning. That's what you want to get back to, not how you treat them and I don't like you in personalities and all that. No. That's not what you're there for. That's not what you go in for. So just make sure that you give the teacher the same respect that you would want, and understand that your child is not the only child in that classroom. And understand that there are a lot of kids in that classroom whose parents don't care for them, don't have the support, don't support them like you support your child. You always got to, anytime you're dealing with leadership or teachers and instructors, you always have to put yourself, doctors, professional people, especially in education, you always have to put yourself in their shoes and understand that they are dealing with, even in churches and ministries, that the leader is dealing with more than the teacher's dealing with more than just your child. Now, I know that's your baby, but they're dealing with more than just one child. You always got to think about that and remember that. And learn and know how to go in with a good attitude, Christ-like, and make sure that you encourage the teacher. Let the teacher know, reiterate to the teacher that you appreciate her or him, and that you're going to do everything you need to do to help your child do what he's supposed to do, so that they can do their job in the classroom. And when you convey that message to these teachers, man, they'll go to bat for you. You know, I've seen teachers when, they'll give extra work because the child needs 1 or 2 more points to make a B or to make an A. And they don't have a problem doing that. They're not changing grades. They're just giving this child opportunity because they realize, they say, look, the parents is this way, and this child looks like he or she is a chip off the old block. And so I see that the child has good in them because I see with the parents, because they're from the parents. And so they are worth spending time with, the extra time. They're worth helping. They're worth sacrificing for. They're worth seeing what else I can do to help them excel. Some teachers, they look at kids and they're like, okay, they got all A's in these classes and they got a B in my class. What can I help them? What can I do to help them where they can get all A's? It's just things like that. And a lot of these teachers, guess what? They have kids in school too. So they're pouring in there. They're doing things, and so they can reap good benefits from their teachers. Key teachers that teach their child. I'm laughing because I remember my son was in the school and we was involved, and so we heard a lot of stuff that went on, a lot of things that went on among the staff and the teachers. And I can remember laughing how this one teacher, she taught 3rd grade, and she had a child like in 1st and 2nd grade, and the child was a riot. So she, being a teacher at that school, had to go to the other teacher for a child teachers meeting because her child, it's not funny, but I mean, it happens. It happens. And so I'm like, but you know what that did for me? It told me that, look, in my profession, especially being a pastor and church leader in the kingdom, I need to make sure that my household and my kids are doing what they're supposed to do, at least trying, while I'm out trying to tell somebody else how to raise their kids and do what they're supposed to. I need to make sure that my household, okay? And so teachers, we have an awesome responsibility. You got to make sure your kids in line too. Preachers got to make sure your kids in line too. All of us who teach and we're influenced the public, we got to make sure our household is in line. And so it's not going to hurt God for you to pull back and pay attention to your own. Okay, I just went the other way on some of this stuff. So We got to be examples, okay? And then so another thing here is that advise the teacher of any issues at home they may affect a child's school performance. If you and your husband on bad terms, you're going through a divorce, somebody died in the family, all of this kind of thing, put your teachers on notice. Let them understand that, look, my child is going through some changes right now because of what's going on at home. Don't send the child to school and they got all these things. He just lost his best papa or grandma. And so now his grade, he's not paying attention. His grades are falling. And he let the teacher know why. So they can say, okay, we understand what's going on at home. He's not himself today. He's not himself this week. Because kids do have feelings too. They're not animals and they're not robots. They have feelings and thoughts and emotions just like we do. And so we need to alert the teacher to help them to understand that, look, he's going to be going through a few emotional changes and so and so and so and so. And this is what we're doing for him at home. And we appreciate if you kind of lean on, keep an eye on him, such and such and such. The teacher will be more than happy. They'll be glad. Okay? Another thing here is that we need to vote in school board elections. Keep your mouth closed if you're not voting and helping to make decisions about people that they put in office. I've seen folks complain, but they won't do anything. They won't participate. They don't vote. All they doing is they got a chip on their shoulder, looking for a problem to come up so that they can, fuss about it and have issues about it. If you're not going, and that's in anything, that's even in government, that's in, selecting officers in the political world. If you're not going to go vote, then you need to keep your mouth closed. And so we're saying that as teachers, as parents, we need to make sure that we vote in the board election. So encourage your child on a success and support them. Encourage your child when they're doing good on successes and support them on poor performance. And that's something that we tend not to do. You got to be balanced. When a child does well, you want to jump up and award them, and you want to help them. And then when a child does not perform, sometimes we just don't say anything or we fuss. What we have to do is we got to say, okay, let's look at this. Let's see what's going on here. Let's see where our issues are, where our problems are. Let's look at this and see where our challenges are. Let's look at this and let's work through this. And you're talking about developing a child. You're talking about these kids overcoming and growing and getting better. When you get with them and you work through a problem and an issue that seems like a mountain to them, when you work through those type situations with them, it helps their self-esteem, it helps their confidence. They are encouraged. They know you're just not just waiting for when they do wrong, where you can pounce on them. They know that you genuinely care for them. And so guess what they will do? They will try harder. And then God will reveal himself to them to where they will see what their problem is, what their issue is, and they'll eventually overcome that. Why? Because you work with them, because you encourage them, because when they had poor performance, you took a look at that and you dealt with it the right way. Because all of us make mistakes. Our kids are going to make mistakes. Our kids are going to do things that they know they shouldn't do because you've told them over and over again. You just told them that morning before they went to school. They went and they did it anyway. And you got to find a way how to work through that. Got to find a way to work through that. And you got to find a way to do that without damaging them. Okay? And so we have to make sure that, here again, I'll mention this, I'm going to say it again, we got to participate in PTSA or other parent organizations, school advisory councils, or committees. Okay? If your child's school does not have a program for reaching out to parents, become an advocate. Okay? See if you can get in there and talk to some other parents to where you can get something started. And then, continue to move forward on that. Now, we understand, we want to talk here again in the last few minutes, the role of parents' involvement in education. The critical role of parental involvement in a child's education has been examined in countless studies and reports. And the research overwhelmingly supports the following conclusions. And I'm sure we're not going to be able to get to all of this. We'll start probably next week. We're going to be teaching on this, and I hope that you go back and view some of these teachings. So roles of parents involved in education. Academic achievement increases when parents are involved in their children's education. So when you get involved, their academics increase. In other words, they get better. They get better in their academics. They make better grades. They understand it's very important, and I've said this before, it's important to get involved in your child's education when they're young, early, kindergarten, pre-K, first grade. Very important to get involved and stay involved, because there's going to come a time where the subjects are going to kind of go over your head and beyond what your expertise and your knowledge and understanding your education is. But they would have had a foundation. And I like the way the school system is built to where they're like the Bible, line up on line, precept upon precept, here a little, there a little. And so what happens, they get better and better, and they learn more, but it's gradual. And they're gradually learning a little bit more. They're adding, second grade, they're adding a little bit more to first grade. And they've kind of, if you look at those lessons and some of those teachers and stories, it's the same thing, but they're adding a little bit more to it. And that's how we learn too. So we've got to remember this. Your child is in school, and as a parent, so are you. We're all in this together, and you're going to be glad and excited about what they become. The sacrifice is worth it, is well worth it. Because one of the problems we have today is we have kids growing up and they're not well educated, and so they don't feel good about themselves, and so they're cutting up and they're doing stuff, and they end up in prison, end up in the early grave, end up just being a menace to society. So we must, as Christians, you can't be a Christian and say, we ain't worried about education. And you can't be a Christian and say, we just going to teach them the Bible, and that's first, and so you better teach them both. And while they're kids, they don't understand the Bible, so you got to teach them, how to deal with things in school, how to get along in school. And then you can also incorporate Bible scriptures with that and watch them become, mature and grow into becoming productive adults. God bless you, and we will see you next time.